am I? It's a question we should ask ourselves often. I believe, it is my personal belief, that an understanding of the human configuration will be a salvation to humanity. We will quit trying to behave inappropriately with one another in many, 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 many different ways. As we come into alignment with our own source personally, and the field becomes more aligned in general because of that individual aligning that's happening, like yeast rising in the dough. In this case, it's not exactly like yeast rising in the dough, but who am I? I believe that the strife that mostly fetters humanity at this moment is a product of us not knowing who we are. And that the more that we come to understand what the configuration of reality is, we become calmer within ourselves, more aligned with our own source, and follow our personal path to safety and prosperity and abundance and love and creative fulfillment, which is there for any or all of us to find. As we find our personal way to our personal alignment, and then find our way to other persons who have found their personal alignment, that's when life starts dancing beautifully. And your life becomes richer and more whole. Well, we're standing in a really special moment because the fires of our world are raging. Our world is on fire. Our world is burning. Oh, the world is burning. Well, you know, those on the right would love to have you believe that. And those on the far left would actually also love to have you believe that. And they are correct both to a point. There is unrest. There are people who are suffering. War still rages. People still have nuclear ambitions. The United States still has the biggest effing bully military in the world, and right now it is being manned by a madman who is threatening our neighbors. You know, that is a problem. That is a problem. I do see that as a problem. However, I also know that to understand how cool it is, how big we are. If you come to your own personal spiritual awakening and then realize that your only actual business is your own personal life and what you care about, and the things to address the thoughts and ideas and realities of the things that enter your personal field, that hit you personally, and then to stay in alignment as best you can at all times. That's your only business. So what does this mean? Alignment, alignment, alignment. I think we should be talking about it more than we talk about sin and crime and stuff like that. Although you could weave back in an understanding why people are concerned about things like sin and crime, because really the problem is alignment. And to talk about it as sin and crime is to talk about it in a sloppy way and to inaccurately source the source of the chaotic behavior, you could say. You could say that sin and crime is chaotic behavior. It is antisocial. It is against the grain. It is going the wrong way. It is not in the order of the rest of the group, or it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be a destructive pattern that's coming back the other direction. What is that? What is that? It is misalignment. And what kind of alignment are we talking about? We are literally talking about the alignment of spin. It really is spin. Fundamentally, it is spin. Spiritually, it is spin. Literally, it is spin. And so let's look at what our configuration is. You have two spins that you are in charge of. Well, one you're not really in charge of, but it is yours. The source of you is the big spin that you are. And you aren't in charge of that, but you need to blend with that one. You need to blend harmoniously with that one. And that one to you, this is, so how do I put this? I've been working on this for a long time. You are two selves. You have two minds. And one of them you know about, and the other one you basically probably, I don't know. I don't know you. I know that I am coming to understand who this other self is. You can think of it as you. It really is you. But it is you at the dust in the wind level to the bigger one, because you are a cell in the body of the universe. And at the level that this allness is you are so big that you don't really fit in this tiny little space that you see around you. And I think this is coming from the dual nature of the physics of this situation. The physics of the situation is that at the same time, your nature is both quantum. You are both, how many angels can stand on the head of the pin of a pin? You remember that old ridiculous it was like an old story where what people in the past used to have this ridiculous conversation arguing about how many angels could dance on the head of a pin. And the answer is all of them. And everything else can fit into the space of a Planck, probably, but at least a proton, because all of the matter in the universe is related to all of the rest of the matter in the universe by this sort of sacred system of spins. It's like there's the great big spin that we're all spinning with, and then each one of us has our own spin that we are in charge of. You are in charge of the spin of your own life. And these two selves of you need to, in order to keep your life in order, you need to keep your two spins in alignment with one another. And in some mysterious way, this is literally true. Literally, you have to keep these two spins in alignment. They are two spinning vortices. The whole universe is made up of a collection of it's uncountable vortices. There are so many. There's no end to the number of spins that could start up at any time. The spin, the organization, and when a spin starts up, it starts pulling into its uh, center, into its whatever of its spin, the momentum of its spin, things around it as cooperative components, as, I don't know, what do you call the elements spinning around a hurricane? Is that the cooperative components of a hurricane? Yes, because all of the debris, all added up together, all spinning, you look at it and you say, yeah, that's a hurricane, and so all of the little parts must be cooperative components, right? Well, you're half right, because this universe it's all about organization. It's all about the order of things and how things shake out, what order they shake out into. You know, everybody's got pieces of it right, but in order to achieve the actual order that we are all aching for, longing for, looking for, that peace on earth, goodwill towards men, that heaven on earth, that pie in the sky thing that people think you can't achieve. Oh, that's just pie in the sky. And then every Christmas, you know, peace on earth, goodwill towards men, you know, as the bombs keep going off century after century, you know, you start to not believe it. But the fact of the matter is that there really is something in front of us waiting for us to figure out and understand. And what it's who we are. Who are we? Who am I? Who are we? It's actually a dual question. I call my show Who Am I? But it's really who am I / who are we? And the we individuals answer at different levels with all kinds of different patterns. Everybody is a different collection of we's. You know, your family, your village, your state, your county, your bowling team, your softball team, your cribbage club, your job, your political affiliation, you have all kinds of different morphogenetic fields of information that you join with and call we. Identify. I am this, I am this, I am this. The I am within us, by the way, the religions, they talk about the I am that I am, and that's God. They're not wrong. Think about that. Think about that. Where you identify is a very sacred point within your physical person. I'm going to tell you right now, human beings are amazing. They are amazing and they are sacred. And just to be here means God put you here and you belong here. With that, I will go along with with any religious person who says that, I'll go along with them. Any religious person who says that there are good people and there are bad people, and the way to have a better society is to scan the landscape for the people who look like the bad people, scrape them all out, you know, get rid of them somehow, pitch them out of the country, and then somehow the everything will get better. But actually what will happen is the chaos will get worse. And as the chaos gets worse, you who keep saying that it's good people and bad people need more and more license to get more and more people out. And then when you don't know what to do with them anymore, you start burning them. You know, especially when you start talking about, you know, evacuating areas of the world and then coming in and, you know, building. This is madness, people. This is madness. Who are we? We are amazing, amazing creatures, every single one of us. We are consciousness, is who we are. And as a human being, you possess the most amazing consciousness ever. you have on the one hand an analytical mind that you are almost none of us are using it in the way we could be using it fully. And as a matter of fact, none of us really are using it the way we could be, because we could be using it individually in this magnificent way I'm going to be describing. On the one hand, uh, uh, well, individually, and then latticing up with one another to make this huge, beautiful consciousness that humanity can be. We really could be. Um, so who are we? What is this magnificent design that I think could be engaged in consciously by human beings, by humanity itself? If we would understand better who we are, there's no such thing as good people and bad people. There is life, there is abundance, there is freedom, there is choice. So, how do you get to this place where all human beings have a choice? This is a tricky question. I think that it lies in the understandings of what I'm about to, the kinds of things I'm going to be telling you, throughout today and all days. Anytime I turn on this microphone and call it the Who Am I Show, I'm talking about our design, both personal within ourselves and then within the matrix of the reality that we inhabit around us. That's always what I want to address, because I think that only from that misunderstanding are we getting problems like war, global warming, sixth mass extinction, um, um, starvation, global poverty, garbage island, actually the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, desertification. Things are getting worse, ecologically speaking. Now, in some ways, life is getting better and better and better for human beings. Absolutely. You got to nod to that, and you got to understand in the awareness of reality. Um, uh, where we are and what's causing the different things. Now, uh, every single one of us has a vibrational super buddy, you could call it. The nature of this being is the answer to all things. It's the answer to your prayers. It's the solution to all of your problems. It's the vector direction, the guiding vector direction of your life's purpose. It is the center, hot burning core of your sacred, um, the sacred energy aspect of your desire. Not necessarily the unholy translation through the misalignment of your analytical mind aspect of your desire, but it's the burning, it's the energy point of your desire, your pure desire, untranslated into words and long range analytical thoughts, which that starts pulling in the equations of your belief system, the net of your belief system. And if your belief system is poisoned by negative beliefs, then your analytical mind is not running in alignment with the mind of your greater self, because your greater self has no negative beliefs. There are no negative beliefs in your greater self. What would that be? What would a negative belief be in the allness of all things. There is only the desire for more, for better, more abundance, more freedom, more joy, more relationship, more possibility, more creativity, more platform for recognition of what would be better and what would be more. That's all that your inner being is looking at. The possibilities, the creativity, and when it's put through the framework of human structure, human culture, human all the it's a beautiful thing. Humanity is the most beautiful, 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 beautiful thing. We are as beautiful as any other species. But when we go wrong, it is important for all of us as a totality to understand what about that, what just happened, what about it is true, what about it needs to be preserved, what about it needs to be museumized, and what we need to do to pick up the positive and carry forward as humanity and not as some kind of misaligned monstrosity. Our problem right now in America, I believe, is misalignment. It's misalignment of philosophy, misalignment of the analytical mind of a whole bunch of people who don't understand who they are and do not understand who we are. Who we are. They are, it, in attacking one another, we are an autoimmune disorder. It's so obvious. But what is this autoimmune disorder? Where is the virus? It's in the philosophy. It's in the mind. It's in people not understanding how basic and fundamental this all really is. You are two selves. You have an inner being. Everybody has an inner being. Even the people you hate have an inner being. Even the people that you think are wildly off track, they have an inner being. The problem is that their thinking is outside of their feeling center. They have the Stephen Millers of this world. They are their hearts and their heads are nowhere in the vicinity of one another. They they're they are disconnected heads. Um, he's a and this is a phenomenon that happens. It's a pattern within us as human beings. We need to understand it. We need to heal it. The people who are playing this pattern out need to be stopped from playing the pattern out. We need to halt the pattern. We need to immediately cease and desist in the cruel way that we treat other human beings. On a spiritual basis, we need to do it. We need to just say, I don't know how we're going to do this, but the Lord will find a way. We will find the resources to house these children in something other than a cage. We will find a way to treat human beings in a better way than this. Because God does not want us to treat people in this way. And so just trust that all the things that our hearts desire, if we desire it and we put our attention that direction and we focus on what we want about it, we can make anything happen. If you want those children out of cages, if that's what I want everything. I don't just want those children out of cages. I want elephants to stop being orphaned, and I want polar bears to find a scrap of ice, and walruses too, by the way. And I want the lungs of the rainforest to keep breathing. And I want indigenous peoples around the world to have a say in their governmental structures because they have such wisdom in this manner to impart part to us all, about us all being one energy. We are one matrixed together energy field. This is the news of the 21st century, of the 22nd century, is the mathematics of this matrix that matrixes us together, the sacred geometry, the power of shapes, the 0 point energy field, source energy itself. So what does this mean to an individual? Know that you have a source. We all have a source. It is the same source. My source is your source. But you don't look at it from the outside. Look at it from the inside. Look at it from within the matrix of your own structure. Who am I? What do I care about? Because there is a place where what you care about is blessed. It blends with the whole rest of it. I have come to think of it. The secret to all of this is religiously maintaining a creative mathematical structure within your own mind as you design things as you design dreams within your own brain, dreams like the dream of that bed and breakfast I want to, create. What am I going to be baking for breakfast, and what am I growing in the garden, and what breed of bunny rabbits are in the hutches out there that the kids get to come and pet. I got my little petting zoo, and I got my or whatever you dream up. What is the the foundational, fundamental structure that you start with is a win-win paradigm. One of the problems of this philosophy that we are battling, and it's a philosophy you're battling, so you got to snap the people out of it. You don't demonize the people who are bewitched by the enchanter. Now, traditionally speaking, you do demonize the enchanter himself. But I think that our enchanter in chief, he's in some way kind of a pathetic character, don't you think? He's not really he doesn't live up to the powerful imagery of a Sauron or a some other kind of evil enchanter. I don't know. So let's get back on track. Who am I? Who am I? And what does all of this understanding mean to me? You have an inner being. That is a really important concept. You have an inner being, and your analytical mind can think about this, and I would suggest that you do. Think about it and cross-identify with these two selves, because on the one hand, it's the self it's the itty-bitty self that only lives 100 years, and then, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and then nobody remembers that personality anymore. It fades into the background of an eternal now that doesn't have time to relive yesterday over and over and over again. Although you will be pleased to know that the record, the exact record on the hard drive of the universe has been kept. There is a record of every single thing that has ever happened in minute and accurate detail, and it is etched across the hard drive of the space memory network. As we flew by and everything happened, every molecule was wherever it was as we flew by. This whole plasma of the universe, especially of the materialized universe, is connected to itself. Wherever the 0 point energy field does not cancel out is exactly where all the matter is. Do you understand? Our conventional physicists are not being given the right imaginal framework of imagining. They are given a framework that they can do math, and the math works out. It's very predictable. It's given us a lot of technology that we can use, but it doesn't let us go any farther in our deeper ability to understand fully the nature of the universe around us. You need the right imaginal, foundational template, structure by which to line your consciousness up. You have two, think of your two minds as two templates of consciousness. One is your source mind. You kind of have access to that one, but that one, know that that one is carrying the information of the whole thing. The whole thing is being carried in that frequency that is the whole universe. It's you're in there, but when you look at the whole universe, in a way, you are the tiniest speck in that whole universe. On the other hand, when you get the two of you in alignment, you might as well be the whole universe. You have a lot of influence. Your influence lies, especially as a human being, within the human world. Your influence to the field around you lies in your alignment or your misalignment. There are two storms of there are two dynamics of motion. Oh man, I start out this show thinking I'm going to talk about one thing, and as I riff, sometimes my brain wants to go. I really want to go and look at this. Please, can I go look at this? You are two selves. You are two selves, and when you get the two of you into alignment with one another, your small analytical mind can become very, 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 very powerful indeed. At least as far as it goes to thinking about thoughts that matter to human beings and to the problems that face human beings. I believe this very, very sincerely. I think alignment is our only issue. And so what I would like to preach to my fellow human beings is a message of alignment, personal alignment to yourself. Now, what does alignment mean? Well, let's think about this. When you are in alignment with your higher self, your two selves are one. They are not in conflict with one another. The thought waves of one are amplifying the thought waves of the other. They are layering upon one another, and they are building in momentum, and it's the act of joining the flow of the spin around you as the field begins to spin with so what does it feel like when you're in alignment? Whenever you are in concurrence with your greater self, you feel good. That's the biggest symptom that you feel. You feel good, and not just sensationally good, not just pleasantness like I'm, in comfort. It's you feel emotionally good. You feel square with your inner self. There's no monkey mind. There's no restless, dragon within you that just is always seeking approval or satiation. That kind of, there's no demon like that. You are content. You are at least at rest. content, satisfied, easy in your skin. These are all symptoms of being in alignment in any given moment. You can be, actually. In the middle of a busy, busy, busy day, frantic day, you could, in a moment, be at ease for a moment, and in that moment, you are in alignment. You could consider yourself in alignment with your higher self in that moment. However, if you didn't do a lot of thinking in that state, then most of your thought processes are over in the jangly places. You have to practice positivity, positive thinking about positive ideas, because frankly, as a human being, most of what gets us going is negative stuff. And I have to tell you that even here, it is negative stuff that is um, inspiring me, because the reality of my world, I want to get out ahead of some storms of things that I think are very uncomfortable for people. And I, quite frankly, do not like being physically uncomfortable. I really don't like that. And human beings have come a long way towards making more human flesh more comfortable in this moment than has ever walked the earth before. I think I can say that. Now, there might be a lot of discomfort going on too, and you might be focusing on those who are in discomfort, but you got to know that there are billions of people who are sleeping in clean beds, who have clean running water, and live in safety and peace with their neighbors. There's billions of people like that. There are also billions of people who are struggling right now in poverty, and extreme poverty even, and war and pestilence and all of those kind of things. I don't want to focus on the negative. We've just got to agree that there is improvement to be had. I like that slogan, let's build a better world. I'm ready. Let's build that better world. And how do you build a better world? You understand how the world works. And the first thing I think human beings need to do is understand how we work. How we work. Right now, we've got a government. Oh my God, I am aghast on every level, from a humanitarian level, from a safety and peace and safety and order. They're rounding up all the agriculture workers and all of the hospitality workers and all of the what are the other jobs that I don't want to do? What on earth are you doing? We should be working to make these people's lives better and to help them do a better job doing the sacred work that we all need them to be doing. Don't construction, that's the other one. You deport all the people who are doing all of these jobs. Guess who has to do those jobs? You and me. I don't want to do those jobs. I want to give them to the people who are grateful for those jobs. And I want to work from the position of helping those people live better and better lives. Don't, yeah. But you know what? The chaos is there for a reason. The chaos, all of the chaos, everything always is there for a reason. And uh, anything that gets destroyed before we can stop the destruction and start the rebuilding, we'll just have to reassess, reevaluate. Is this important? Does this matter? And anything that matters, we rebuild. And anything that turns out to have been bathwater, we let it go. We find the baby, we let the bathwater go. Sometimes that's what a shakeup in the world is. Our little mini Hitler event is not going to be anything like the raw, incredibly raw, and it was a revelation to humanity. We were very ignorant of the possibilities back then. And so we just innocently kept saying, oh, this couldn't happen, this couldn't happen. Well, this time we know what can happen to the extreme. And we've got watchdogs all at the extreme end, watching it, making sure, whatever. They're helpful to a point. And then at some point, they can actually start summoning the same event, ushering it in as they expect it to be exactly that way. And that's a problem. Know that this is the same energy, but it's going to play out different because for 100 years we have been hard at work as humanity building structures that will help us. Our inner being has been helping us do this largely through media, entertainment. Right now, there are a billion different directions that everybody's attention can go at any given time, and this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. We don't want everybody's attention focused in one way and then have us all get angry or frightened and then act from an angry or frightened position. I don't want anybody acting from an angry or frightened position. Yes, it is true what you're looking at, and it's a bad thing. However, the answer is easier than you think. Get into alignment with your own personal self, your own personal, summon your own personal genie. Get your own positive momentum going. Connect with your own source. Your source knows how you best connect in a positive, joyful way with the field around you. So follow her and she will link you. She will plug you into the greater, the larger picture in a blessed way, in a path of least resistance, path of most allowance, of most abundance, most freedom, most joy, most joyful experience in that kind of a way. And you don't have to think about, you don't, once you realize how you are designed, you don't actually have to keep in mind the welfare of elephants on the other side of the planet. You don't have to keep that in your conscious mind. As long as you commit to following the guidance of your inner being. Your inner being, the guidance that it gives you is never a negative. Well, actually, it does give you guidance in the form of positive and negative emotion. But the negative emotion may not mean what you think the negative emotion means. The negative emotion means, first of all, there's a condition out there, you've observed it, and it has ignited something in you. And that's true. Now, it may mean that that's a condition that you might want to change. But the way to do it is not to jump out of your own personal whatever you got going on and go in a negative way and try to force direct a change to that thing. That's not what you should be doing. But you can use that negative thing as ooh, the world is real. I really should get going on my positive momentum. You got to get a positive momentum going, people. That's what you need to do, which means you need to find what you care about. Find what you like, what you love, what you want. Where is your desire? There is a place at the center of your desire that is sacred, that is blessed. It's where your energy field, the wellspring of your energy field is. And pardon me if I use religious nomenclature sometimes. I am not a religious person. And I certainly do not adhere to any particular religion. Although I can see what every religion is trying to, they're all kind of trying to reflect back to the same big thing. They're all looking at the same thing. It's like the elephant. You remember the old is it an adage? Is it a story? I don't know. Is it a fable? I don't know what you call this. The blind man and the elephant, and all of them are standing at a different position on the elephant, describing it differently. And if they're arguing with one another, then that's a problem. If they are all recognizing that we are all looking at the same thing, So let's put it all together, and maybe when we add it all up, we can describe this thing that, oh, let's call it an elephant. I don't know. Those with eyes have a way of unifying the field of view just with that visual on the elephant. But anyway, it's a metaphor anyway for something else. And I think it's a good metaphor for religion in general is the elephant, or God and the universe is the elephant, and every religion is a different point on the elephant, a different aspect, lens by which to view. I don't know. You can work on the metaphor yourself. So who am I? Who am I? I am two selves. I am two selves, and the two selves are the meaning of your positive and negative emotion, not an empirical thumbs up or thumbs down to the condition in the field. It has to do with your own personal alignment and what thoughts you have. Now, if you are in absolute alignment with your greater self, and you turn and witness a condition that you could help in this moment by direct action, then your impulses would have you do that, and that would be a good thing. That would positively affect it. Otherwise, all right. So, where are we in all of this? Let's describe why and how your inner being gives you guidance by positive and negative emotion. What happens when your inner being doesn't give you a negative emotion? That's not why you had a negative emotion. Your inner being is pure positive energy. It couldn't have a negative emotion if it tried. It's pure positive energy. Pure positive knowing of how the field is moving. As simple as that. It is pure positive knowing of what every individualized point on the field wants. It is pure positive knowing of what every point on the field needs. What does this sound like? What does this sound like a description of? It sure sounds like the G word to me. But what it really is your recognition of the awareness that's going on around you that you are playing a part in. You are part of the universe, and as a human structure, you actually have a really, really, really cool setup that, should you choose to consciously use your design, you can create an amazing landscape for yourself and help your family with it too. I've been helping myself, and my family is starting to get better at it too, which we're all born able to do this. So I can't pat myself on the back too much. I am not their success. But anyone's alignment inspires others to their alignment. And anyone in alignment now the ones that I've inspired to their alignment inspire others to their alignment. And as we all start doing this consciously, understanding the alignment we are reaching for, we can make this catch on. We can stop the bleeding that is going on in my beautiful country. I grew up in an Andy Griffith world, in an Andy Griffith spirit world. It's not the fact that it was all lily white, and in the whole time of watching that show, I only ever saw a black person in the background in a crowd once. Um, and that's from pouring through reruns. The fact of the matter is that Mayberry was a spirit of um, humanity, goodwill, knowing that it's the heart that matters, not the color of a person's skin or from what country they came from. And as a matter of fact, the more countries that you come from and bring your wonderful traditions, your fabulous stories of humanity and food and family and um, life to our borders, the richer we are. The richer we are. And so right now we are having a problem in our country. It's a philosophy. It's a fundamental philosophy that is at war. Is there such a thing as bad people and good people? I don't think so. I don't even think those at the top are bad people. I think they are gravely and grossly misaligned. Their philosophies are gravely and grossly misaligned. They need to be taken out of the seats of power. But, you can't just do that by a coup, or it's not bloody revolution we're looking for, although ironically that is how this country started, is with bloody revolution, and then to expect us to be able to find our way to peace is a little tricky. But I think that time has come. I think it's time for us to understand that it's not bloody revolution that we need, but a heart and soul philosophical revolution that we need. We need to understand who we are as humanity and how it would be possible to give everyone their freedom and let Source sort us out. Let Source sort us out, because it is the only force, it is the only power anywhere that has the technological capability, that kind of it's sort of a quantum computing issue. It's the only computer that big that would allow every individual absolute freedom, but only if you act in alignment. So what does that mean? Win-win. Win, 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 win. And your win, 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 win has to not negatively impact any significant number of other people. It has to truly be a win-win. But it has to be a win-win as organized by Source, not as forced by some set of rules set out from the outside by human beings. So that's a tall order, isn't it? How do you get everyone in alignment with Source? Well, you teach people what it feels like to be in alignment with Source themselves. You teach them what their positive and negative emotions actually mean. When you are in a state of negative emotion, it means that in that moment you have taken a thought that is a much lower frequency. Your inner being has got one that's a higher frequency, that's carrying a larger frame, that understands the meaning. You need to understand the meaning of the activity going on around you, both chaotic and ordered. It's all about chaos and order. That's all it is about. And the chaos and order with what? Chaos with what? It's with Source. So what is Source? Source is this collective spin. So what does that mean on a practical level to me? How do I follow this will-o'-the-wisp? Well, know that these two selves within you carry signatures. One of them is your desire. Your Source self is where the wick of your desire, that feeling of that impulse, the imp part is your Source. Now, whether that imp becomes an imp, a demonic imp that gets you into lots of trouble, or whether it's a blessed impulse towards, cooperative, coordinated, creative endeavor, and organization, that depends on you. Depends on whether you are lined up with yourself or not. You may not know there's two selves in there. And in not knowing, the more screechy your negative emotion gets, you're thinking, wow, that's telling me more and more powerfully how really bad that thing is out there. When in actual fact, what it's telling you is how really, really, really differently your inner being is seeing this person. Your inner being never sees the threat, always sees possibility, is always looking directly at fabulous. And what do you care about? What do you care about? Individually, what you want for yourself is a good life. And we're kind of often taught that if you're seeking a good life for yourself, you're being selfish and you're not thinking about everybody else, and so you're being bad, and so we sabotage our own ability to find a good life for ourselves. Now, I think the actual true secret to all of this is we are a collective being. We are a super organism onto this planet now. And all of the people who are in charge of anything that has to do with spending money on our infrastructures, or deciding what our what systems we are creating now to take care of all of our needs for tomorrow, all of those people need to be certifiably in alignment. In alignment. They need to be able to demonstrate that they have a good, clear. How do you do that? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I do know that in the end it boils down to some really, really important rules. And that is ultimately every single being needs to be able to call their own way. Freedom of the individual is really important. Every individual needs to be free to flexibly move about the world. And humanity could make it so that they were easily able to move into any space that needed to be occupied at any given moment. What would How would you be able to do this? If every individual was connected to their own source. If you are joyfully, correctly connected to your two selves are connected to themselves, then your actions are all blessed. That's how come every other being that creepeth upon the face of the earth, given enough time in the field, creates a blessed aspect of the ecosystem, or they're out. They either play the rules of the game or they're out. And what are the rules of the game? You can't make war on the field, because ultimately you are the field. And if you break that rule, the field will crush you. So that's the truth of the matter. Now, the fact of the matter is that we are actually consciousness. And every time we have a desire, there is something about this vibrational universe that expands. And so all we need to do to fix every problem that we have on the planet is quit focusing on the problem and immediately turn to focusing on the solution. So what does that mean? Every time you look at a broken pipe, You look at it with faith and expectation that there's an answer, that we can figure this out by jingies, you know? Instead of, you should never look at a problem and just go, oh well, nothing to do there. So who are we? Who are we? I've brushed on a lot of things. We are a superorganism. Let's talk about who we are as an individual. Because we have at our fingertips as an individual some tools at our disposal that we may not realize how freaking fantastic and powerful these tools really are. It looks like I have passed an hour. Dang it. I didn't really get as far as I wanted to go. I am going to post. Someday somebody might look. Someday I might go in and, although it's relevant today because of our political situation, that's why I say it today. That's why I'm moved to say it, because I started injecting into my consciousness a little bit more awareness of the slow, now faster moving coup at the top there, what that is. It needed to get into fuller sight before you can really address it and go, hey, I know what I'm talking about. This is authoritarian psychosis, and it actually is a big problem. It's an enormous problem. It's caused by human beings not knowing who we are, by imagining that it is possible to abdicate all the responsibility to one authoritarian at the top and say, you fix it, you tell us what to do. Especially when you hand it over to a baby. I don't want to someone who's not quite up to the task, shall we say. You hand it to the one who wants to do it is not the one you want to. And at first, the really competent ones make things run smoothly. That's the contract you get. This one isn't even making anything run smoothly. He's actually more causing chaos in things that previously were running fairly smoothly. So he's an agent of chaos more than he's an agent of authoritarian order, which is usually what happens. There's some kind of terrible disorder, and the authoritarian comes in and, he starts ordering things, and things get a little bit better at first. At least with Hitler they did, because he took the disorder of the Great Depression, and it was really a very terrible time, and he ordered it for a minute, and everybody went, oh, this is better. We're not getting much of that in this iteration. So the illustration points are going to be easier in some ways to visually illustrate. He's showing us who we are, but don't take that to mean in a bad way, because yeah, it's a bad way, but it's not in a bad way. Understand who we are. We are this system of two selves, and if you don't get those two into alignment, things can go terribly, terribly wrong. When the thinking self is all in the darkness, all in the bad, all in the negative, all in the just reacting against things, then you are nowhere near what your inner being is thinking about, who is always thinking about creation and what positively to do next to make it better, to put things more in that source order, the great circle, the great spin of source that connects us all. That is the cosmic order. There is a cosmic order that we are all a part of, and when you start looking at it in the greatest scales, you can literally see it. An enormous hunk of matter that we call a planet, spinning on its axis, orbiting a bigger hunk of matter that we call a star, and then that star being one of many, 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 many of them much, much bigger in a huge clump spinning we call a galaxy, and then a cluster and a supercluster, and then the smoothie churn of the entire universe, which is a black hole, by the way. All of these spins are black holes, which, you'd go, wow, that's really amazing. Except for every proton is a black hole. It's a structure of black holes, all the way up and all the way down. And it's all a flow of energy and information. That it's vibrating with this energy and information, and it's uploading. All the individual parts are uploading their vibrational information to a gigantic wholeness that we all are. And then that allness is downloading its in wholeness, the full thing. You've got the whole universe with you. I have the whole universe with me. You've got the whole universe with you. The whole thing is holographic. Nothing and nowhere is left out. We are a body. We are one. There is only one of us here. And we are all in this together. And when we see it that way, when we know it that way, when we live it that way, then our world becomes a beautiful, safe, loving, kind Mayberry of a place. And when we don't see it that way, it becomes a frickin' Third Reich of a nightmare. And it's a spirit thing. It's alignment. It's alignment. It's no more and no less than that. And so we should be helping our fellow human beings to their alignment, not eliminating them from the body of our nation or of humanity itself. What are we going to do with all those people, all those millions of people that we're pitching out of the United States every year? How many millions of people? I think that we could have sensible, rational limits on the borders based on, the population of the planet, what's going on with us. We could do all kinds of things to help their nations be more peaceful and more kind and more. We could be a better world, people. We could be a better world, all of us. But it starts, I think, in the philosophy. It starts in the mind. It starts in the thinking. We are all in this together, and you cannot escape that. And I'm way over time now, or I'm just at I need to stop this nonsense and get on with my personal day. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope someone listens to this. It feels really good doing the show again, and whether anybody listens to it or not, I do it for myself, right? And then at some point, we'll bubble up a natural impulse to make sure that I get out there. First, I got to make sure I get clear about the message I have to say. I think we need to understand our design, and then we need to understand that we are all in this together. And how do we find our blessed order? Each and every individual figure out how to align personally with your source, where source connects to you, and that gives you the perfect and authentic voice to this great mosaic that we are as humanity. And until tomorrow, I hope you will join me again. If you found me before, please find me again. And until tomorrow, as always, may the source be with you.